Hi, Vejle Symphony Orchestra. I'm talking to the string section, mostly to the first and second violins, but violas, cellos, basses, I'm sure there's some things that are also relevant to you in this that I would like to communicate to you. So I've been listening to the recordings of our rehearsals and I'm really pleased at the progress that we're making. Each week it sounds better and better. So by the time we get to the concert on the 23rd of April, I think we'll be doing quite well if we continue this progress. So well done so far. And there's still a few things that we could work on and get a bit better. So today I want to talk about how to play better together so that as a section and as a string section, we can play more as one. And I've got a few ideas about what might help that. So when I listen to these recordings, I can hear sometimes, it's not a tendency all the way through, but just sometimes I can hear the front desks playing and then there's a little bit of a delay from behind where, you know, some people, and I'm sure it's not everyone, is just a little bit behind with the beat. So it just sounds like we're pulling you along a little bit. Other times there's a bit of a ricochet of notes all over the place, especially during pizzicato. And I want to see if I can bring us together and that we play together as one on the beat. And I think I've got some violin string playing tips to help you with that. So general advice would be, know your music really well, because the better you know your music, the easier it will be to look up away from your music at the conductor, at your section leader, and then look back again when you need to. If you're struggling with the notes and you don't know it very well and your nose is stuck in the music, it's almost impossible to look up and see what's happening around you. So we need to get out of our little individual bubble of playing the notes and join in with the whole thing. So as well as looking, we need to listen. So listen to what's going on around you within your own section, your section leader, and the rest of the orchestra. Sometimes we get help from the wind, the brass, the percussion, or maybe from the cellos. I'm talking from a violin perspective here, where, assuming they're playing in time, we can latch onto what they're doing and play with them together. So the more aware you can be of what's going on around you, both visually and audibly, orally, with your ears, the better. And I would also say that maybe you need to anticipate the beat a little bit. If you wait for the beat to go down, there's the beat, oh, and then I play, you're going to be behind. So we do need to anticipate a little bit about the beats coming now. But of course, don't overdo that and come in too early. The tendency is to be behind. I would say that is a tendency to be a little bit behind the beat. So how can we put that into practice? Well, I've picked I have three kind of techniques. So I have bowing techniques, pizzicato, and then generally when there's some kind of slowing down, a ritenuto. And I want to start with some examples of ritenutos in America and in Paris, where I think they might be a really good place to know your music really well. So to take the sections with the ritenutos and get to know them really well so that you can look up when the tempo changes. I was looking up what's the difference between ritenuto, ritardando, rallentando. They all mean slowing down. It's just to what degree, how much do you slow down or how quickly do you slow down. And that doesn't really matter because we're going to watch Anna Katrina and we're going to follow her. So the first place is 3 bars before figure 42. We have a pochissimo rit. So what I suggest you do is get to know this part really, really well so you can play it without even looking at the music. And then you can look up. And I don't know how much that slows down. It might be a little bit different every time. So we're watching and we're responding to what we see. Next part is 1 bar before 55. Molto rich. Oh yeah, that's that really high section. So this is grandioso, and it's... And then we have first of all we have a rit. Now I have no idea what she's going to do, so I have to follow. I'm still thinking in fours here. That goes into semiquaver, 16th notes. I'm thinking in fours, groups of 4, but I'm following the beat as well. I don't know how to find it again. I have to start again. And then off it goes again. So I don't know what rit I just did there. I just did my own thing, but it might not slow down as drastically as that in the beginning. It might, I don't know what it's going to do. So the better you know your music, the more you can look up, and we don't need to watch the music. And the third place I've picked is 3 before 65. I wonder where that is. I don't have my music in front of me. 3 before, yes, it's that bit after, when it goes back to, well, it's 3 bars before 65, and then we have a rit, so it's... Now this one, it took me a while to understand how it works. You've got to think in 2. Anna Katrina's beating in 2, and I've marked 1, 2, 1, 2 on my part, so I can see where the beat is, because I was getting really confused. So it goes like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this last bar, she's kind of beating in 4, I think. Let me do that again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. No, I did that wrong. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's taken me a long time to get my head around that one. So I really suggest that's a great one to memorize, know where the beat is, to be able to look up and see if we can get that one together. Now I've got some sections of tips on bowing. Now what I've realized with my own playing is sometimes when I'm out of time, it's because my bow is not playing rhythmically. I'm not playing in time with my bow, and I'm concentrating so hard on the fingers, and I think it's about getting the fingers in the right place at the right time. Of course that's important, but it's actually what I'm doing with my bow that's complicating matters. So the first example I've got where, if we really think about our bowing here, I think it can be great. It's figure 3, and all the different sections in the strings play that same rhythm at different points. It goes all the way through. And so the bowing is, we can be really strong with our bowing here. It's 40 and there's some accents. And let's get it in really rhythmic, controlled in time. I don't know what else to say about that. Figure 15 is my next. But this, you got to love this one. This is about string crossings. Pardon my intonation. So what happens here is the firsts play this, and the seconds repeat it. And then we change the chord. Whoops, in tune. And the seconds repeat it. And then again. So it should sound like this. That's where it stops, I think. just this continuous chord going. Now this is all about, in terms of the bow, your string crossings. It's one. No, that's the wrong chord for the beginning. You see what my arm's doing? So that's what makes the string crossing. So you keep the bow moving and the arm goes up and down like this and the string crossing happens. Figure 27, what happens there? That's so similar to similar to that. We're at the heel, there's some semiquavers and there's some accents. Don't even remember how many of them we do, but there's something about the really tight rhythm, a really strong rhythmic use of the bow. I don't know how to tell you how to do it, I just want you to be aware of it. Next up is figure 38. I have to say it's starting to sound pretty good. I really thought this was unplayable when I first looked at it, and I think we're making a good effort, so keep going with your practice on figure 38. I think we're going to get it. Figure 55, well that's the passage Frederick did a little bit on, and again there's a bowing issue about getting it in time. So your bow is just going da 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 da, but that's keeping the rhythm. I heard in the recording last week it was a bit shaky, wobbly, it was all over the place, and I'm sure if we get the bowing to go so and this time we played it, we did a little bit of a ritenuto. It's not marked, but that's kind of what happened. I don't know if that's there all the time, but let's keep an eye out for it. I really suggest you practice with a metronome. The speeds are somewhere on the Symphony Orchestra intranet. I don't know exactly where, but if you look, I think under Dirigent or under, if you go on the Pultplan, I think there's something there about metronome marks, and you can look at the score and find out what the metronome mark is and practice it at the speed or build up to the speed that we're intending to play it at. Now, there's a bowing technique called offish. Off-ish. Ish meaning a little bit like. So if I was to say, what's that colour? And you might go, it's kind of bluish. So this technique is called offish because it's kind of off the string, but it's not really. It should sound like it's off the string, but your bow shouldn't leave the string. Now the benefits of this bowing technique are that it's much easier to play together, to play rhythmically together. And I don't think I can really fully explain it here, but I'll do my best. It's when we're playing fast and it's usually semiquavers, so. I hope that sounds like it's off the string, but in actual fact my bow is not leaving the string. So how do I do this? So the first finger is very important with this. The first finger needs to bite each note. So there's a little press of the first finger, and maybe need your hand just to put a bit of weight onto the bow as well. The first finger presses and releases. Press, release. At speed I'm not aware of my first finger going on every note, but there is definitely a bite to every single note that we play. So and there's a point in the bow where you'll be in a different place on different bows and a different place in the bow at different speeds. So if I want to go faster, I probably want to be a little higher up. Otherwise my bow really does start bouncing. The wood of the bow starts to bounce, it starts to go up and down, up and down, up and down, but you keep the hair on the string. So I'm thinking specifically about figure 36, round about. So it's a really, really neat stroke. It's really neat and it really helps you play in time. See what you can do with that. I can't explain it any better than that. There's some other places where we can use this same bow stroke offish. So figure 23, 5 before 23. Figure 70. Don't need to leave the string for that one. In fact, it's much more controllable if you keep it on the string. And that accent is just on the fourth of each group of 4. So just keep your head going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Taffa, tiffy, taffa, tiffy, diddle, diddle. And then your hand just does the accent. And we're staying. Keeping it short and staccato and on the string. Offish. Last offish place is figure 73. Okay, so let's look at some pizzicato here. One thing about pizzicato is I think it's really easy to skip over it when you're practicing and go, oh, that's just pizz, that's fine. But we actually really need to practice it so we can play in time together. So let's look at figure 8, 4 before figure 8. There's 4 bars where I think everyone except the first is playing off the beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And how do we get this together? Well, first of all, I play quite far down the fingerboard when I'm doing pizz. And just like sometimes you start with your bow on the string so that you can get a good clean start, you really need to start with your finger on the string. If you just try and go like this, you're not going to get it in time. So start with your finger on the string and a little bit down the fingerboard so you get nice sound. If you're playing up here, well, first of all, you're going to get your fingers covered in rosin. And second of all, it doesn't sound as good as, further down the fingerboard you are, the nicer it sounds. So I don't know if you can see. Now, depending on how much time you've got, you might only be able to stick a finger out. And that's why it's really important to land your finger first so that you've got a base. So you're not just flying in, whoa, and it's a bit of a hit or a miss if you even get the right string. So start on the string. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now sometimes you really do pluck the string. And other times you just kind of brush the string. Depends how loud it has to be. But mostly we want a nice clean sound. Maybe not too loud, but depends on the passage. So this one goes dum bum 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 bum. So we're listening to get the rhythm. There's stuff going in the brass, I think, going on in the brass that we want to latch onto or play along with. So bum 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 bum. They're playing the rhythm like they're giving you all these quavers. Dum bum 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 bum. So we go dum bum 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 bum. So that's that thing I said about listening a little bit beyond your surroundings. Figure 43. Oh yeah, this is really important because the entire string section is playing bum 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 bum. We've got to get that together. And then maybe another section that's worth just memorizing so that you can watch. Start with your finger on the string. I don't even know the notes. But it's the same thing, yes. Start on the string, watch, play. And you might need to look, like, where's the string? Well, yeah, I have to look at my string so that I pluck the right one. So yeah, you might need to look at your string and look up. That's a really important section. Figure 43. Then we've got figure 45. Ah yes, the trumpet solo. So that's when the trumpet comes in, this lovely melody that we get to play later. And in the violins, and I think the violas as well, we're all off the beat and the cellos and basses are on the beat. So listen to what's going around you. Respond to the cellos playing on the beat. I can't, so it's 1, 2, don't know the notes, but 1, 2, So I think the same technique applies throughout all the pits. The last one I've got is figure 47, which is in that same section. There's a poco rubato. Now, if you don't know, rubato means that you pull the beat around a little bit. So again, we got to look up. We got to be ready for that. The tempo changes a little bit, and then we all keep plonking away because we are not watching that it's changing. And then we have the ricochet effect of notes everywhere. So let's pay attention to the beat. That's all I've got to say about what we can do to try and play better together. It's way more satisfying when we play together and that we're all moving as one unit and making some lovely music together. So I hope this helps, and happy practice.